back. Hour number 2, Kentucky Sports Radio, 502-571-1080. Happy to be joined on the phone by our good friend, UK head football coach Mark Stoops. And, Mark, I glad to have you on, and I'll just get started with this. You got through spring practice. How's the team looking, and you feel good about where you are?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Great to be on with you guys and catch up a little bit. Post-spring, we always used to try to get together and talk a little football, but really pleased with where we're at. I feel like, we've got, the culture is very steady. As we've talked about many times, I feel like the guys just kind of hit the reset button. We had a really good winter. We needed to. We got some young guys we're counting on, and some guys that needed to hit the weight room and have a great winter. And player development for us, not only mentally but physically, it's a big piece of it. I feel like our strength and conditioning team does as good as anybody in the country, and they've worked extremely hard through the winter and carried over in the spring. The spring was a little different this year, being that we had to delay it a little bit with the OC change so late in the winter. And unfortunately, we had some really bad weather, so we were inside quite a bit, but we managed. We got it done, got a lot of work done, and heck, when you have a quarterback like Will Levis, it makes it a lot of fun. He's a, fantastic player, and the talent is certainly there. The leadership that he chose in the development under Coach Rich, I think, that we're really excited about that. It gives us a great starting point.
Well, I mean, every mock draft for next year now has him in the top 10, and I was on my NFL stuff I was talking to an NFL draft person, and I asked them, what's happened? And they said that they think a lot of these NFL coaches, scouts, and draft people saw the film of the Georgia game while scouting for all those Georgia defensive guys that got drafted, and all of a sudden we're like, man, we've been missing this guy. Do you think that's what's happened to sort of raise his profile?
Well, that's part of it. And I wouldn't say missing. I would just say they're so focused on so many different people that are coming out in this year's draft, that we're in the 2022. And so they are, locked in on all those guys, and they really don't dive into all the juniors or the guys that are, have the ability to come out until they know for sure they're coming out. But that I did hear that as well, that several scouts that have been in contact with us definitely watched him throughout the year, and he did pop off the film to them as they were prepping for some seniors and different guys in the SEC. That's part of it. I think the fact that we've really, promoted Will, or, encouraged them to take a good look at him. We had him throw during Pro Day live in front of a lot of people, and that definitely caught a lot of people's eyes. And, I'm glad to see that come into fruition as well, at least getting that preseason hype, because he deserves it. I have said that. I have said that to people, and you really didn't know, if they saw it that way or not. And it's nice to see all the, even though we know those things can change, but all the preseason, hype that he's getting as far as being a top 10. And I know this. I know Will. I know how motivated he is. And it'll drive him to see any quarterback pick in front of him, because I believe he believes he could be the number one quarterback pick. And he has that kind of ability, and I think he's going to have that kind of year.
That's exciting. I love to hear that. Your draft night was a great night for you all. I mean, not only did you have 4 guys get drafted, but 3 of them, Wandale, Pascal, and Fortner, went kind of much higher than people thought, which means they were rising at the right time. You had to be really happy for all those kids.
Really happy. Really excited to see all 3 of them get top, in the top 65. That just says a lot about them and what they did in their preparation, and they did rise. And, that was really exciting. You could just genuinely hear from those guys and feel the excitement in their voice, and they deserve it. They're really great people and great players, and so, really excited for them.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about next year's team, but I think it's worth discussing a little bit of kind of the state of college football and sort of college athletics with what's going on with NIL. There's reports that Greg Sankey today is up at Congress trying to help get some legislation maybe passed. I just would ask you kind of as a starting point, with where NIL is right now and what is happening with these collectives, et cetera, has recruiting in a year, in your mind, completely changed 100%?
Yes, completely changed. It's completely changed the college game, at least the college football. I cannot speak on the other programs. It is much different when you're talking about other teams and just sheer numbers, because when you're talking about baseball or basketball or any other sport, you just don't deal with the numbers we have to deal with. We deal with 85 scholarship players, and it has totally changed. And it's really different. I'm on record, when was it? Probably a month and a half ago after spring ball in one of my press conferences. I'm on record to say, basically, is this really what we signed up for? Is this what we want?
Yeah.
I'm all for the players. Like, it makes total sense for players that are in your program and that have helped you build your brand, help you build the University of Kentucky, help share, in some of the money and some of the things that are going on. Like, I'm all for that. Everybody's for the players, and especially the players that have been here and worked hard for you and help you win football games. Heck, but is this what we really want? Let's look at it this way. In the NFL, there's 32 teams. I have no idea on this. Y'all could do the record, but how many unrestricted free agents are there a year? And those players get paid, right? They get paid.
Yes.
If they have a great year and they deserve it. Well, in Power 5 or even non-Power 5, you're looking at 5,000 unrestricted free agents a year. Is that sustainable to pay all those guys?
It's tough. I don't know how they do it. Let me ask you this.
In
at
football,
some point,
you're talking about 5,000 unrestricted free agents.
Yeah. It's a
big number.
That's a big number. So at some point, maybe rules get done. I'm skeptical, but maybe. Until then, I just want your honest take. Do you feel like Kentucky right now is situated, or whatever NIL situation or whatever, to be able to compete, for you to be able to compete in recruiting in the current construct?
I think there's some people working hard to try to get, some things in place to help attract players and to help those players if they're thinking about Kentucky, because you have to think in this day and age that players walk in, yeah, they're really interested, they love what you've done, everything else. Bottom line, how much can you get me? That's these high profile transfers that are out there. Why are they out there? Because they're unrestricted free agents. They're going to go to the highest bidder. And you can't blame them. That's just the rules that somebody put forth in front of them. They let them do this. And as far as Greg going there, I'm not sure. We have a head coaches meeting next week that we're going to dive into, a lot of things. And then we have our big league meetings at the end of May, beginning of June. And, we have to, try to help and try to get some things situated. But I know from the people that I've visited with within the league, within our administration, within, at least part of the SEC, I don't want to speak for people, but I think that, some type of federal legislation would certainly help. We need it. And I heard other coaches, and I think Nick, said it in the right way. Is this really sustainable? Do we really want to go to our people? Like you asked me a question. I'm giving you a long answer. But you asked me, are we positioned? Are we set? Is this what we really want? Do we really want to go throughout the state, go out to our boosters, or who has the most, money and booster organizations that want to give it directly to high school student athletes? I mean, is that what we want? I mean, to pay high school student athletes millions of dollars to come to your school where where they may not even be a player, where the guy that was in our case, look how many 2 stars, 3 stars come up and look at Luke Fortner and go into the NFL, Josh Allen, they come out of nowhere, they're 2-star, 3-star, not getting any money, but yet develop themselves into an NFL player. I mean, that's what you like. That's what I love about college football. Not that I'm against players. Again, I'm on record saying I love, our players. I want them to get everything they can. I always have been. But is it really what we want to just get a big collective together, get $20 million together and give a bunch of guys that are unproven money out of high school because you have to just to compete? Is that what I really signed up for 9 years ago?
But I'm with you on all that, and I think it makes sense. But let's just say, Mark, that Congress does what Congress does, which is usually nothing, and this is the world you live in. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the world we live in, what do we do then?
Well, I think you understand that I'm always I'm not crying the blues. I'm giving you facts. I'm always going to play by the rules that we have and do them the damn best I can. You know what I mean? And I'm going to fight, and we're going to put our team in a position to win. That's what I did 9 years ago since I've been here, to try to continuously build this program, and I'm going to continue to do that. We're not giving up. I mean, we're going to fight. We're going to punch, and we're going to play by the rules, and I'll fight for our players, and I'll do whatever I have to do, to keep our program on the upswing, because I think we could all see, the work that we've done. Our program, I've worked too hard. We've worked too hard for too many years to tee our program up, to put it in a position to take it to the next step, and then boom, you get hit with this, and then it's again a situation where, I don't know, where we fit into that with the haves and the have-nots, but traditionally, 9 years ago, we were certainly on the have-not side as far as, having things to put our players and put monetarily, put our, program in a position to win the SEC. Over those years, we've closed the gaps. We've upgraded our facilities. We've upgraded our staff. We do everything we can for our players. I commend our administration for fighting for our players in every way. This is a different entity. How much money is there to go around? How much money do we have in the state? Is that really the focus? Is that really what we want? To donate tens and twenties of millions of dollars to pay, high school kids or guys that are unproven? I think that's where, everybody struggles a little bit. You know what I mean? Your guy that's here, Josh Allen turns down the NFL, stays an extra year. Shouldn't he benefit from that? Shouldn't the players that are here, Will Levis, he's benefiting from it. He should, the right legal way. Oscar, the right legal way. Those guys should be compensated. They're helping our program. They're helping our state. They're helping in many ways. I think that's what the NIL was intended for, was those guys. But was it really intended to say, hey, give me 25, super wealthy boosters, put a collective together with $25 million in there, and let's buy recruits left and right. That's pay for play.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about next year's team. You've got – I look at the roster, and I think it's one of the deepest and most spread out with talent that I've seen. The one worry I had going into spring was your secondary. You've seen spring. You've seen your team. You got somebody out of the portal since then. Do you feel like the roster's where you want it to be going into the fall?
I do. I think the portal gives you an opportunity to address a couple of needs. If you go through spring and feel like you need some help, I feel like Carrington Valentine is definitely a guy at corner that's a year older, that's really looked impressive. That helps solidify one of the spots. You know, we went out and hit the portal, you know, possibly to help for others. Overall, the roster is as good as we've been in a while. I really believe that. Again, when you have a quarterback that could be as good as any quarterback in the country, that's a lot to build around. I really feel like the receiver position, we're very deep. You know, we're probably overall as good as we've been there. Obviously, you're going to miss Wandell and his playmaking ability. But I feel like the whole position has grown, and that's one of the reasons I made the change a year or two ago, because as you get better, as you throw the football better, as you attract better quarterbacks, that makes all those guys around them, all the skill guys. It attracts a guy like Dane Key to come to Kentucky. And he's everything, you know, we thought he was going to be. Probably.
Yeah, let me ask you about that, Mark. Ryan's sitting here. Ryan was going to ask you about Dane Key, and I was holding him off. So, I mean, he's wanted to. So what about our guy Dane?
Man, Dane is unbelievable. He's everything we thought he was going to be as far as just a great human being, very instinctual. I think that's the word. Talent was there. That was obvious to see. When I say probably exceeded my expectations, I only saying that because of the way his feel for the game, his knowledge, you know, the experience, you know, isn't there. He's a guy that could be in high school, you know, and he's going through spring ball, and the way he picks things up, you know, he's very smooth. He catches the ball and all those things. We knew all that, but just his instincts and his awareness. Very bright young man, got a great future, and I just love everything about him. He's an impact player as a young guy.
All right, so now this is the most hype I've seen this football fan base. Drew, do you agree?
Oh, completely agree.
There are people sitting there going, we could go to the playoff here this year. They look at that schedule, and I will say this is the first time I've ever seen a schedule for Kentucky football where I say, I feel like they could win all of those games. I know you probably feel that a lot, but do you feel it more this year if you're being honest?
Well, I really don't look that far ahead as far as looking at, okay, boom, that's a win, that's a loss, that's it. I'd never do that. And I've said that even on teams, Matt, way back when I know we weren't good enough, but it's like I'm never going to take the approach where I go into a game not feeling like we can win. I've never been that way. I won't be that way. So we always take them one game at a time. So, to put it together, to lump them all together and say, hey, we're going to win every game, I don't make those kind of predictions either. So it's always for us. And again, I know that's a boring way to look at it, but that's the way we have to look at it. We have to dissect them one game at a time. We have to stay in our lane as far as what we're working on right now. How do we get better right now? You know what I mean? What's the best for our organization? And that's really where we stay. But I love this team. And any time, again, you have a quarterback like that, they make people around them better. And, he's a great leader. He's competitive. It's not just about him. It's about the team. And those kind of guys make a difference. And so I really like where we're at. I love our staff. Losing Liam late in the year, not fun, but I don't think it could have gone any better with the way we filled that position. And, I think it's really going to benefit Will, and it's going to help us continue to build that NFL-style offense. And, if you just look at that offense in general, that's by far the best in all football right now, as far as the way we do things, the way that offense sets things up, the way we play, and so we're happy to be a part of it. I think that was a really good move a couple of years ago when we made that.
Well, Mark, thank you very much for taking the time. I'm sure we'll get you on again before the season, but we appreciate it, and good luck, and congrats again on the draft night. That was, I think, very cool for you and the whole program.
Yep, thanks a bunch. Appreciate it. Always great to be on. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, guys.